Lex Luthor is, he might be a step up from the Dawn of Justice one. He definitely isn't as annoying,
Yeah,
but
that helps.
there's no maturity in this movie anywhere, so that's a big problem because Lex Luthor is a very mature villain compared to a
Yeah.
lot of other villains. He has one goal in mind and he pursues it at all costs, and when he has to be professional, he's professional. I mean, there was a
Yeah.
reason that at some point in the DC universe, Lex Luthor becomes president of the United States. He can
Yeah.
carry himself with a bit of dignity.
Yeah. And a plum.
Yeah, not in this movie. He is
Huh.
plumb out of a plume.
Oh.
He
How? What?
he spends
Why?
most of... Oh, okay,
Is there
so...
a reason for this? Does it make sense at least?
Well, yeah, because that's the level at which James Gunn can write a movie. Or direct
No, but I mean,
it or
like,
whatever.
does it make sense in the context of the world?
No.
Why not?
Welcome to the Wordy Pair Podcast, your go-to hub for all things writing, world building, and the occasional dive into the weird and wonderful world of fiction. We're breaking down the barriers between you and your next great story. Whether you're a seasoned scribe or just scribbling your first sentences, we've got something for you. We'll be discussing everything from crafting compelling characters to dissecting the good, the bad, and the downright bizarre in the world of fiction. Okay, this script says you guys are eccentric. Isn't that just a 3-syllable word for weird? No offense. So, whether you're in need of inspiration, a good laugh, or just a couple of weirdos to keep you company on your writing journey, you're in the right place. Thanks for tuning in to the Wordy Pair Podcast.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Wordy Pair Podcast. As always, I'm Rudy.
And I am Justin, laden with
And
disappointment.
we are interrupting our regularly scheduled programming because we were talking about doing a discussion of pyramids, but something came up. Something crucial.
Like vomit.
Yes. And, like dogs, we go back to this vomit over and over again, which is apparently DC Comics movies.
Yeah. I watched a bad movie.
Yeah. Did you watch it in the theater or did you watch it in the comfort of your own?
Oh, no, I did not pay money for this. I have long since learned my lesson.
Okay, good. Good. I'm relieved.
Yeah, I watched the latest Superman movie.
Okay, that's the one directed by James Gunn, right? Came out earlier this year?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So you started talking to me about this yesterday, and I was like, we should do a recording of this. And so here we are. I don't know. I haven't seen this movie. I haven't even watched any reviews of it, really. So you're just going to have to show me where it hurt you. But not in a literal sense, in a figurative sense.
It was grotesque.
Yeah.
There was a point not very long ago, I'd say roughly around 2010 is when things started going really downhill. Like things had always fluctuated back and forth, but like at some point the mediocre at best writers that used to permeate modern media somehow became the head honchos and started making movies.
Someone intended to burn it down and instead passed the torch by mistake.
Yeah. That's almost what it feels like, because it's worse than mediocre. It's just like, you used to be able to go to the movie theater and there would be 10, there used to be like 20 movies playing, but there'd be 10 movies playing and at least 2 of them would be worth watching. And that's not that bad if you consider that there's going to be a new set of movies every 4 to 6 months, right?
Or even less than that. But
the
fact that not all movies are going to be designed for you to watch, but maybe to go for other audiences.
Yeah, so if there were bad movies, and generally the bad movies that were really bad were also
Yeah.
in the, like, there's 2 to 3 of them range. And then
Yeah.
everything else was somewhere in the middle, either slightly above average or slightly below average.
Well, I mean, again, I don't want to underestimate the things that we're talking about, right? Like, there were probably 2 movies that you wanted to see, 2 movies that were good that you didn't want to see because they weren't your kind of movie,
Yeah.
and then, 6 mediocre to under mediocre and maybe 2 bad, something like that.
Yeah, it'd be about a rough estimate. And overall, that's not too bad because, you can't expect a masterpiece every time you go to watch something, right?
Sure.
So how did we get to the point where the best, quote unquote, call it masterpieces that can be produced wouldn't even hold up to movies from 15 years ago?
I mean,
But, would not even be able to grace the souls of average content that we used to consume.
so you're saying it's worse than the 1980s Superman movie?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh no,
Okay.
there's just no. It's
We're forming a baseline.
yeah. There was something to be gotten from those movies. There was a little bit of charm and entertainment, and there was an overall story to the hero himself.
Yeah.
And I will grant you that there are stories out there that do not necessarily need character development, or at least not in any sense of it's relevant to the material.
Well, the complexity can be pretty low.
Yeah, or it could be a case of like.
I mean,
like
even
when you
even
read
Man of Steel got character development. It was just very poorly done character
Yeah.
development, right? Like, you had Superman saying, "What do you want me to do, Dad? Let the kids drown?" And he's like, "Maybe." And you're like, "What?"
Yeah,
That's development. I mean,
things did develop there, yes. But no, it's like the Nero Wolfe mysteries that we love.
yeah.
We don't need much character development from Nero Wolfe in those. We get some occasionally, but it's pretty established what he is from the start
Yeah.
of it to the end of
I mean,
it.
the way that Nero Wolfe works is that it was intended to be a long running series from the beginning, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, we get a little tiny tidbit of all the recurring characters every time we hop in. A little something new. In this book, we learn that Fritz Brenner, goes to Africa to hunt game. In this one, we learn that he collects ancient cookbooks and crockery, and that he even has something that he thinks that Julius Caesar's cook used. In this one, we learn what his sense of humor is like. And so,
And in this one, we learn he was
gradually
one of the
over the course
translators
of
the
multiple
Necronomicon.
books, you learn that this character actually has depth, and that's one way to do it. But generally, you can't do that for a movie. So, what happened here?
Nothing happened. We go into
I-
a universe where Superman is established, and as someone who
Wait.
might.
But hold on a minute. This is a new Superman, right? New actor, new universe, all that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they didn't bother to establish him. They said he's already done.
Well, sort of.
Okay.
You
Tell
go
me
into
more.
the movie
Mhm.
at a point at which Superman has just lost a battle.
Okay.
We're
that
going to
works.
talk about the prevailing theme of this movie.
Oh no, themes.
No, just the one theme, and they really lay it on in this movie. But before we get to that, you're in a universe where Superman is established as a hero that people love,
Yes.
and in this universe, you make some assumptions because most people have a general idea of some of the meaning behind Superman.
Mhm.
Most people know, oh yeah, he's a hero, a symbol of hope, so a savior kind of figure.
Yeah.
So that's what you assume he is when they give you this this story that kind of starts in the middle of a story. You're like, okay, well, we know what Superman is, so what's going to happen in this movie? We're not going to get his backstory or anything.
Which
here.
is okay. You could manage
Yeah.
that.
Oh no,
but-
that's
but-
perfectly fine. I mean, sometimes
but
that's
you would have
preferable.
to ensure that this Superman is similar to some previous Superman.
Well,
Like, in order for it to work. Like if he's not like other Supermans, then he needs to be established. Would be my point.
well,
This sounds bad.
So, there's a couple of problems here that I noticed right away. Like, one of them is it doesn't feel like it's a terrible movie. It definitely feels like a bad movie.
Okay.
But it doesn't feel terrible.
What gives
But
you
I
that
had to-
feeling in particular? Anything
Well-
ring a bell?
Let's see. I've already made one Necronomicon reference today, but it's kind of like you know how in like Cthulhu mythos stories, people will start to have inklings that something's off and they'll start to investigate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is I went a little Miskatonic here and I went back and watched a few clips from Dawn of Justice.
Okay.
And as I'm watching them, I'm like, oh no, these clips are much better done than just about any clip I could pull out of this new Superman movie.
Can you give me a concrete example?
Well, like the scene where Superman and Batman first meet each other, it's obnoxious. Or rather, I should say, Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent meet at some kind of philanthropist thing that Lex Luthor is doing.
Yeah.
Now, it's mostly obnoxious because Lex Luthor is there.
Sure.
As we all remember, Lex Luthor was not Lex Luthor in that movie.
No, he was a neurotic child.
But it had a semblance of story building in the sense that Clark Kent is there and he hears Bruce Wayne talking to Alfred over an earpiece. And he gets a little curious as to why Bruce Wayne is going all 007 at this meeting.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously both of them are there looking into Lex Luthor for whatever reason. But they kind of have a brief meeting where Clark Kent says that, you know, Batman is kind of a vigilante that's above the law, and what does Bruce Wayne think about that? And Bruce Wayne similarly asks, well, why does the Daily Planet, you know, pack on the praise for an unknown alien that could destroy us all if it wanted to at any given time?
Yeah.
And it's a little bit standoffish, and then Lex Luthor shows up and kind of shakes both of their hands. Yeah, he ruins the scene, but he does shake both of their hands and kind of gives Clark a slap on the chest and says, "This guy's pretty strong. You wouldn't want to fight him." With like the worst foreshadowing ever, but also kind of like a sort of a taking the tense moment and, you know, building out that this is in fact a confrontation that these two are having. It's not just idle banter.
Does he wink conspiratorially?
No, he doesn't. I'm not even sure if he knew. I don't remember if he knew that Clark Kent was Superman at that point in the movie. I don't think he did. So I think it was just one of those things where it's like, it's kind of the storytelling is that, oh, he doesn't know. That's kind of, it's simultaneously a joke, but also, there is a tension here that's being built that the audience is aware of. And it's just kind of throwing another log on that. Like, yeah, see, you know, Lex is kind of pointing out these two are going to have some kind of battle.
Or at least foreshadowing it unknowingly.
Yeah. But there's a hint of storytelling there.
Sure.
Even if it's not spectacular, it doesn't always have to be.
I mean, it's a switcheroo, right? You do something. If you do it cleverly, the audience knows what you're doing, but the world that you're in doesn't know what you're doing. So, like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's fortuitous, but not. But it's coincidental, but it's not plot breaking.
Yeah, it's a little bit breaking the fourth wall from the perspective of the creators of the movie, kind of like,
sure, but
hey audience,
you can
this
do
is
that.
what you're here for.
Yeah.
We're kind of throwing you a bone here, saying, "Yep, get ready for it. It's coming." There's some problems with this other Superman movie, but let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
The movie starts with him falling from the sky, having lost his first battle in all the time that he's been Superman up until this point.
Who's he losing to?
He's losing to someone called the... what was it? I can't remember the name of the country. The Bulgarian, or... It was like a made-up country.
Okay.
I'll say... I'm just going to say Bosnia. We're just going to go with Bosnia. The Bosnian Hammer. So he lost a fight to someone in a big mech suit called the Bosnian Hammer.
Okay.
it's kind of starting out with like, oh, okay, so there's this enemy that he isn't able to beat. This must be where our story is ultimately going, right? And I won't say that it didn't go there. But what I will say is that this was actually establishing something totally different that I realized halfway through the movie.
Does this hammer guy have kryptonite?
He does not, no.
So how does he beat Superman?
He's stronger than Superman.
Sure, but, like, he also has limited power, but Superman generally does not.
Well, we don't know anything about him yet, so we don't know why he's able to beat Superman.
Fair enough.
But this was just the beginning. We start with saying that Superman lost. And the next thing that happens is Superman is lying on the ground in Antarctica in pain, and he decides to whistle.
Okay.
Now, he whistles
like whistle
for a
tune,
reason.
or like whistle a wolf whistle, or what?
A wolf whistle, a high-pitched whistle, and he's calling his dog Krypton, or Crypto, or whatever Bitcoin. He's calling Bitcoin.
He's calling his dog Bitcoin.
Yes.
An orange retriever.
He's summoning Bitcoin. So Bitcoin bursts out of the snow and comes dashing towards him. You know, by the time this movie came out, everyone knew that Bitcoin was in the movie, so they kind of made it look like, oh, something is coming after Superman, but you knew it was the dog.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin shows up, and he starts trying to play with Superman, because in this movie, without any deviation whatsoever, Bitcoin is an idiot throughout the entire movie, and he's a completely untrained puppy, essentially. He's a lot like my dog, just thoroughly obnoxious and
barking for
playful.
No reason at nothing.
Yes, barking for no reason, and sometimes nearly costing people their lives, despite the fact that you would think Superman would be on top of this.
Yeah, you'd think that with all of his powers, he'd be able to train a dog. People do that, like regular people.
It's summed up very nicely at the end of the movie why the dog isn't trained, but it is not clear why Superman actually let the dog go anywhere, being untrained as it was.
Yeah.
So,
how did the dog get to Antarctica? Does the dog have superpowers?
The dog does have superpowers. This is one of the problems that this movie has, is that Superman doesn't seem to care that a dog that is as strong as him is just, kind of loose.
Mm-hmm.
So the dog is playing with Superman, who is aching and groaning in pain because he's been beaten up.
Okay.
And he's trying to get the dog to take him back to the Fortress of Solitude. It takes him way too long to get the dog to do this for him. Like, as the audience, you're watching and you're like, I get the joke, he's a playful puppy, he doesn't quite understand what Superman is asking, but can we get on with it? Now, this is the first time that in my head, as I'm watching this movie, I heard the Monty Python Holy Grail get on with it in my head. That was the first time.
Yeah.
The dog finally gets a clue, grabs Superman's cape, and starts running back to the Fortress of Solitude, which grows out of the ground as they approach. We find out later... It is kind of cool. That is a nice touch, but we find out later it's because Superman's DNA is activating it to come out of the ground for him.
I mean, okay, that's understandable, right?
Yeah. And
it's like a key card in Metal Gear Solid,
Right. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's biometrics.
Biometrics.
He's got the Fortress of Solitude runs on biometrics. So the dog brings him back, and there's these robots that are there, and they're supposed to be the servants of Superman that his parents sent along with him. And they're like, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and get you all fixed up there. Now, there's a bunch of robots, and two of them specifically are introduced. One of them you think is being introduced for a purpose. It's the one that has a female voice. She is not introduced for any purpose. They introduce her. She says something. That's the last time we hear anything from her.
What? Really?
Yeah, it's just there's a couple of robots. The only one that really gets any steady presence in the movie is number 4.
Mm-hmm.
And number 4's whole shtick, which makes him not only the best character in the movie, highly opinionated here, but also the only character that has any character development whatsoever from start to finish in this movie.
Okay.
And I can walk you through the entire thing right now. I may as well. This is the only character development you get while watching this movie, so I'm just going to spoil it.
All right, lay it on me.
When Superman is talking with him, he's kind of beaten up, and they're getting him all patched up, and they're going to focus some sunlight on him to heal him up.
Mm-hmm.
The robot he's asked his opinion on something, and the robot says, well, I mean, I'm a robot. What I think doesn't really matter. I don't really have an opinion that I genuinely have any emotion about. I mean, really, he says something about the dog, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
He says, and really the dog doesn't even understand that I don't care if it lives or dies because I am a robot.
Right.
And that's how he kind of acts the first couple times you see him in the movie. And then there's this scene where a lot of the robots have been destroyed, and he's trying to repair himself, and Superman shows up and is like, oh, hey, what went on here? You okay? And the robot says, he doesn't really have any care whether he's okay or not, but then he kind of goes out with a, I'm sorry I failed you sort of message. Mm-hmm. So you get a little bit of development there where it's like, oh, the robot really did care about something, even though it kept saying that it didn't.
Right.
And then it later comes back. Everything is kind of okay with the robots in the end, and the robot starts pretending he doesn't care again. But Superman knows better now. So that's it. That's the entire character development in that movie.
Wow.
Yeah, Superman gets healed up, and he's like, well, I got to go right back to that fight. But there's no fight to go back to because the enemy calls it off and vanishes and says, don't screw with us again. Mm-hmm. This is all the result of Superman interfering at the borders of a war-torn nation where one nation was vastly superior to the other and was basically going to commit genocide.
Okay.
And this is where the plot of the movie comes in. Superman, who we're calling an American hero for the sake of this movie, but I don't know if they actually call him that in this movie. But
you don't know, or you just don't remember?
Well, they don't. I don't remember, but I don't think they were considering him an American hero or an American citizen. But he's definitely got the veneer of America around him, because the immediate problem that many people start to have is that Superman acted to prevent an ally of the United States from doing something without consulting anyone. And this is what has several people in the movie upset, is that, oh, well, you're kind of acting with impunity, and you didn't talk to the president of that country, or rather, after you saved the other country, you did talk to the president, and you essentially tortured him. You took him to a desert and hung him up on a cactus, and you shouldn't have done that, and that kind of ruined relations for us and that country, because whether or not he is an American superhero, that country views him as a product of America.
Yeah.
So
did he have a good reason for doing the cactus thing?
No, he didn't. It was completely out of character for Superman. It's not something that he would normally do, and it wasn't like he was doing it to someone else who had superpowers or any kind of invulnerability, so it wasn't going to harm him. It was just a human being. And this entire point that
was there at least some kind of poetic reason to go take him to a cactus?
He had a talking to with them, as he put it.
No, but I mean, like,
no, there was no like poetic nothing about it. It was just like, I'm going to put you on a cactus and I'm going to tell you naughty, naughty, don't do it again.
I'm going to put you on a cactus and you're going to like it.
Yeah. So that is definitely something that is way out of character for Superman, but you'd better get used to that.
Okay.
So this is where the plot of the movie starts to come together. And I'm calling it a plot because it takes place on land, which is also something that you could call a plot. So I guess it kind of works.
Okay.
Lex Luthor is the villain of the movie. And
did they at least get someone good to play Lex Luthor this time?
I don't know, because he didn't really play Lex Luthor. He didn't really play anyone. Like, I didn't feel like the person couldn't act, but I did feel like he didn't have any actual job of...
Well, how, but Lex Luthor is one of the... I mean, Lex Luthor is simple's not the right word exactly, but he's a fairly straightforward character, at least. He
Yes.
plots, and he is rich, and he owns a lot of industry, and he believes he has a right to do things because of that ownership, right? That's kind of Lex Luthor's shtick. It's pretty easy for even a novice actor to kind of act that out if he wanted to, and if it was in the script. So you're saying that they didn't... What did they do to Lex Luthor? I mean, am I wrong about Lex Luthor?
You're not wrong about him, but here's the issue. I mean, this is another issue with the movie. For one thing,
Yeah.
I guess Hollywood decided long ago that they hated any actually masculine men. I mean, even the Superman in this movie looks like someone that I could whose face I could grind into the pavement. You know,
who you could give a wedgie.
Yeah, I could not take Superman too seriously when I'm looking at this guy, because it's like...
Well, I mean, the original Superman character in movie form, as played by, what's his name, Christopher Reeve, right? Reeve did a very good job of showing the duality of Superman and his secret identity, right? Like, you can see his posture change when who he's playing changes. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Clark Kent is stooped and kind of bent forward, and he's, you know, he doesn't look people in the eye, and he has bad posture, and he kind of shrinks himself down a little bit and looks a little bit, you know, it looks more pathetic than he would if he were standing up straight and, you know, squaring his shoulders. And Superman doesn't do any of that stuff. And so you have this interesting duality between, you know, his real identity and his secret identity, and he as Superman has to act the part of a different person.
Yes. But that was when they did acting. You know, that was some time ago. Like, there actually is a good parallel to that in modern day. Unfortunately, the one that comes to mind is that atrocious 2016 Ghostbusters movie.
Okay.
Chris Hemsworth's character in that movie, because they did the whole gender swap thing, so he was playing the secretary in that movie.
Yeah.
When he was the secretary, he did have a very much like not so good posture and kind of awkward antics that he would be performing. But then when he was possessed by the ghost of the other guy, who was supposed to be the big bad guy, he acted a lot tougher and looked a lot tougher, even though the bad guy specifically was not a tough person himself, but he was being menacing, and so he manned up.
Yeah.
So acting is very much still a thing that people can do. I'm sure that there was a hint of it in a few places, maybe in the Superman movie. Somewhere. Probably.
Somewhere.
But for the most part, Clark Kent and Superman in this movie were both the same person, and it was kind of a petulant child in ways.
Oh.
Superman did not really say much that was inspiring to anyone, and by not much, I mean, there is literally not a speck. Should you grind this movie to dust and put it through a sieve, not a speck of inspiration anywhere in it.
When you say inspiration, do you mean inspiration in the artistic sense, or do you mean inspiration in the uplifting the audience sense?
Uplifting the audience sense, but also the other one.
Oh.
But mostly the uplifting the audience.
Okay, fair enough.
But, you know, just to drive the point home, also not the other one. So, Lex Luthor in this movie, at least they had the decency to have a bald Lex Luthor. Now, he kind of reminded me, I mean, for all I know, it could have been the same actor.
You have to remember that in the original, like, Superman movie, Lex Luthor wasn't bald until the very end, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was a thing. You could do that. You could pull it off. They did. So,
yeah, but that guy was an actual actor. I don't know what the...
Sure.
I guess that's not fair. The guy that played Lex Luthor in Dawn of Justice might... I don't know anything about him. He might be a great actor. He might have just been in Dawn of Justice, which, you know, probably...
He might have had really bad direction, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, it's entirely possible that all of these people are phenomenal actors, and it's just that they have completely drained Hollywood of any semblance of good writing whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone there writes like a teenage fanfic writer at this point. It's abominable on a good day.
Sure.
So Lex Luthor is, he might be a step up from the Dawn of Justice one. He definitely isn't as annoying.
Yeah, that helps.
There's no maturity in this movie anywhere, so that's a big problem, because Lex Luthor is a very mature villain compared to a lot of other villains. He has one goal in mind, and he pursues it at all costs, and he's, when he has to be professional, he's professional. I mean, there was a reason that at some point in the DC universe, Lex Luthor becomes president of the United States. He can carry himself with a bit of dignity.
Yeah, and a plum.
Yeah, not in this movie. He is plumb out of a plum.
Oh. How? What?
He spends most of...
is there a reason for this? Does it make sense, at least?
Well, yeah, because that's the level at which James Gunn can write a movie. Or direct it, or whatever.
Does it make sense in the context of the world?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean...
Why
maybe
not?
A little. I mean, see, we got to go back and look at the beginning of the movie where Superman is whistling and Bitcoin shows up and he drags him back to the Fortress of Solitude. They have a scene where you're watching this dog dragging Superman's body, his semi-limp body, through the snow and just kicking up snow everywhere. I feel that it's indirectly metaphorical. This is a movie where Superman is just dragged through the mud over and over and over again. So when you go back and watch it, you can pretend that the snow is just mud, and it's a perfect metaphor for this movie.
Okay.
Lex Luthor has more superpowers than anyone else that I've seen in these movies at this point. Like,
what?
He doesn't have any himself, but the level of genius that he portrays is so far beyond the Lex Luthor level of genius in the comic books, which is an insane level of genius already. I mean, the guy builds himself a power suit that can compete with Superman.
Yeah.
It's the whole Aiko and Biko thing. But in this movie, he has done several things. One, he has somehow created the hammer of Bolivia, or whatever it is, that is stronger than Superman. Nobody knows how he did that. That's a plot point that comes later. He has also created a character that he calls the Engineer, which is this woman that is covered in nanites that she can control with her imagination. So she's like a poor man's Green Lantern, essentially.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Kind of like the Green Lantern in this movie. So she's got the ability to, like, imagine weapons and turn that into her hands, and at some point
so she's like a cross between Bayonetta and the Green Lantern.
Yeah, that is actually a pretty good way of putting it.
Oh,
she's
definitely I didn't expect that to be the case.
No, she got a touch of Bayonetta in there. She's kind of like a bit of a trump card here, because she does almost kill Superman. And I'm watching the movie when this happens, which is way later in the movie, and I'm just like, why didn't they open with that? I mean, if Lex Luthor's one goal is to kill Superman, why didn't he open with trying to kill him like this? Which, I mean, granted, it was a way that didn't make sense. I'll get to what happened in a minute. But the point is, Lex Luthor has all these cronies that he has built that have superpowers that are on par with Superman.
Okay.
He has found a way to create pocket dimensions where he can create prisons to hold superpowered people, or just people he doesn't like.
Okay.
He is much more petty in this movie than he is in any depiction of him that I've really ever seen. And he's not
Petty
exactly
how?
not petty, but, like, all of his ex-girlfriends are in the prison in the alternate dimension that he opened. So it's just
that's
like,
actually funny.
It is, but it's like I think if Lex Luthor really cared that much about any of his ex-girlfriends, he would probably just have them killed. That seems more like a Lex Luthor thing. Or he would arrange that they would have an accident somewhere.
Yeah, that certainly sounds more like Lex Luthor, but this is a particular Lex Luthor that can create what's it called? The Fantasy Zone or whatever? What was it called?
He created the
It was part of the plot of Superman 2, right? There were those three guys or two guys and one woman that were stuck in like the Hold on, let's look this up real quick.
The empty zone, or it began with a T, didn't it?
It had a name, yeah.
It's going to drive me crazy. I guess we're going to have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now because it's making me... Phantom Zone.
Phantom Zone, that's it. It wasn't,
Thank you.
There was a T in there. It wasn't at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that as I was watching it, that's what I was thinking this was supposed to be, this is the Phantom Zone of this movie.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds a lot like the Phantom Zone.
But it also kind of, the way that you got into the Phantom Zone was through these tubes, and I don't know if you're familiar with the boom tubes of Darkseid and his Planet of Apocalypse or whatever it's called. I think it's called
I've heard of them.
Yeah, so his way of traveling to all
Are they actually called boom tubes?
Yes, they're called boom tubes. Which
I thought that was a joke.
Nope, it was not a joke. That is actually what they called it. At least,
that's hilarious.
I don't know about the comic books because I never read, I've read maybe 5 DC comic books my whole life, and they were, God, it was Zatanna was one of them. And I don't even remember what the other ones were, but I didn't read many DC comics. But in the 1990s Superman cartoon and in the Justice League cartoon, they called them the boom tubes, which just sounds like an intergalactic toilet.
Yeah.
We're in the tubes back here.
We gotta train Rover to use the boom tube.
Yeah. But it kind of looked like they might have been planting the idea that at some point Lex Luthor's creation was going to open a void so that Darkseid could find Earth through the boom tubes.
Sure.
It felt like they might have been building to a multi-movie story with that, because they really did look like the same thing.
Okay, sure. That makes sense. I mean, you know, any person making a Superman movie has to be aware of these previous existing things and what they might, how much the things that they're doing would look like these other things. I
mean, have you watched these movies lately? Half the complaint that people has is that, did anyone actually read the comics?
No one reads the comics.
Yeah, so, I mean, maybe vaguely aware, but yeah, I mean, God, who was it that was like, oh, I never watched any of this series before I made my version because I wanted it to be great. And it's just like that.
I think that's everybody these days.
Yeah, that's just about everyone.
Or
they watched it and they hated it.
There's that too. Yeah, that's the other really bad one.
So he's created all these scientific wonders.
Yeah.
And the big thing about the movie that, there's his motivation obviously is to destroy Superman, but his motivation for doing so is
normally what happens is that, or my understanding of the backstory of classic Lex Luthor is that Lex Luthor is kind of building power, and he's doing so in unethical ways, but he's smart enough that nobody can catch him. And Superman makes him vulnerable, and that's why he wants to kill Superman. Luthor is a character before Superman starts to do stuff. And it's the fact that Superman ends up interfering with Luthor that makes Luthor want to kill Superman, right? Am I misunderstanding the backstory here that normally would exist? Or
not really.
Okay.
I've seen it interpreted, well, not interpreted, but I've seen it both ways depending on what media you watch with Lex Luthor. Because sometimes he's just straight up a villain and he doesn't like the presence of Superman because that threatens his empire. Mm-hmm. And other times, he is a villain, but at the same time, he does legitimately think that Superman is a threat to humanity and wants him destroyed.
Okay, so that latter version I don't see very often.
I don't know if that was more in... that was definitely the case in a lot of the cartoons. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of the animated movies that they did, there's definitely that tone in Dawn of Justice, and
Lex
Luthor definitely has this eye on Superman, I don't want this guy around because while I am a bad person, I'm still a human being and he is not. And I feel like we should be running our own things and we shouldn't be leaving it to someone who could destroy us anytime he wants. So he's got this touch of loyalty to his own human race, which is tested all the time because he doesn't seem to have much much problem with killing his own kind. But I
Yeah.
guess you could argue that at least he feels like he's one of his own kind doing it, and it's not an outsider.
I guess.
But then, like, I don't know. His motivation sometimes is confusing because he seems to always have that feeling towards Superman, but then when there's other superhero characters that aren't from Earth, that changes. He doesn't seem to have that same desire to destroy
Yeah.
them.
Right.
Maybe because he feels like he can deal with the other ones easier than Superman. I don't know, but
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
the point is he definitely does have a touch of that in this movie, while at the same time
Okay.
he is definitely out for himself and out to do things for himself.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the plot points of the movie is that he is trying to make a deal with the president of this country that got hung out on this cactus.
Yeah.
They both have an interest in destroying Superman, one for revenge and one because he wants him out of the picture.
Right.
And they're sort of setting up this thing to where they're going to have their war and commit genocide against those people that Superman saved last time.
Mhm.
And Lex Luthor is going to get all the land that is taken, and that's going to become a country called Luthoria. So it's a very
Okay.
comic booky premise that we're running with here. Not
Sure,
a problem.
sure.
It's a comic book movie.
Right.
But towards the end of the movie, when Superman confronts him about this, Lex Luthor tells him that he says, "You don't understand. It's getting that country to myself and all the resources and all the good that it would do me. That's secondary. All of that exists because I want to kill you. And
Mhm.
that just is a happy side effect of me getting to kill you."
Yeah.
So his main focus in the movie, by his own admission, is wanting to kill Superman, regardless of
Interesting.
how he benefits or does not benefit.
Okay.
Because in many ways he doesn't benefit. He destroys his own headquarters in his attempt to kill Superman, and he
Yeah.
doesn't think twice about doing it. He doesn't have a single regret to bringing down this insanely over-artistic architecture that
Yeah.
he has created. In fact, it's built into the building that he may destroy it one day, because they're all in the building on this little overhang piece of it that apparently turns into a flying ship that drops away from the building, and they fly away.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, Lex Luthor just has all the science in this movie.
Yeah.
And nobody knows where he found the time or people to put all this together, but he can just do it. So he is actually much more superpowered than Superman in this movie. So what happens in the course of this movie? Superman is people start to turn on him over this thing where he saved this country, but he didn't really show any diplomacy. He just went and did it. So the government's angry with him. So the government is happy to help Lex Luthor drag Superman's name through the mud, which
Okay.
they managed to do this. How did he do it exactly?
How does that? I mean, what does it mean for Superman's name to be dragged through the mud? Like,
Well,
so what?
the idea is that they essentially they essentially go on Twitter and give him a bad name. Here's what happens. They go to the Fortress of Solitude. Lex Luthor, the engineer woman, and the guy that is somehow stronger than Superman. And the other two were like, well, hang on a second. How in the world are we going to get into the Fortress of Solitude? I watched it disappear in front of me. You have to
Yeah.
be Superman to get in there. And Lex is just like, let's just go. And as they go, the Fortress of Solitude starts to rise up out of the ground. So the other two were just in awe of Lex Luthor, because how did he do that? And they get inside. The robots that are inside are no threat to them. Immediately get beat up. The engineer girl takes out the dog the same way that she's going to try and take out Superman later on. And they kidnap Bitcoin and destroy the Fortress of Solitude after downloading a bunch of information from the computer that has the messages from Superman's parents, real parents.
Okay.
Now, at this point in the movie, we have seen Lex Luthor essentially perform miracles,
Mm-hmm.
and you start to feel like Superman isn't really much of a problem if they want him destroyed one way or another.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is Lex Luthor's reasoning in this, because
Okay.
they take the stuff that they've downloaded, and there was this message that Superman had that he could never hear the other half of. It was like messed up from the crash.
Uh-huh.
But Luthor's scientists managed to piece it together. And instead
Okay,
of it
that's
being
kinda
a
cool.
message of hope, where his
Yeah.
parents are like, we're sending you to Earth, guide them, etc., etc.,
Mhm.
and try to be a good leader. But the other half of the message is them telling him that you may have to put them in their place sometimes, and you may have to rule with an iron fist. Make sure that you lead them, towards the right way of living,
Mhm.
whether through peace or backhands. I don't know, something stupid. And you never really know if this is made up or not. You have no way of knowing. They don't tell you in the movie, and they kind of leave it with you assuming that that was the real message, because Superman
Okay.
doesn't really contest it anywhere.
Well, he
Even one
doesn't
of
know, right?
well,
I mean,
there's another scientific character in the movie. They bring in another hero called Mr. Terrific, and
uh-huh.
Mr. Terrific, as far as I can remember from the animated version, was a scientist that had balls. And
Um,
that's the joke.
okay.
He built these things that they're essentially like drones that he can control with his own kind of built-in
Mind or
equipment.
something?
He must have
Yeah.
like some internal equipment, because you see his eyes glowing at some point, and he's
Okay.
controlling them all from his head. But it's technology that he built.
Okay.
And he uses this at one point to help Lois Lane go and rescue Superman. Well, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but what happens is they play the message on television. Lex Luthor does an interview and shows what he found, and he says, "Now you can see Superman is not here for good reasons. He's here to enslave us all, essentially." And then he starts making up stuff like, Superman has a harem. He chooses many women to. One of the things in the message was that he should try to bring back the Krypton race by
Mhm.
breeding with Earthlings, and so Lex Luthor makes up that Superman actually keeps a harem that nobody knows where it is, but
Well, I
um,
mean, this is suggesting to me that the quote unquote second part of the message is also made up by Lex Luthor in
it
a
is.
convincing enough way to go ahead.
It does seem like that, but the problem is that Mr. Terrific shows up in the movie, and he's like, yeah, no, there's no way he could have made that up, judging by how they looked at everything. And I don't know how he knows that, but we just take it as gospel because he's the only other scientific authority that we get
Oh,
in the
so
movie.
he's like actually believable though.
Yeah, like Superman can
Oh,
trust him, and if he says that
that's
it's real, then he doesn't have much
so
reason to
Superman's
doubt.
parents actually did tell him to rule the world, but he didn't know because that part of the message was damaged.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was living by what they told him in the first half.
Or you know, what'd be even better is if it wasn't damaged in the crash, but like they recorded and they're like, no, that second half is actually kind of bad. Let's get rid of that. And they tried to delete it, but like they didn't completely delete it.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. I mean, it could be a lie by omission. Maybe, I mean, for all we know, Lex
Yeah,
Luthor has that part of the tape where it's like, that actually sounds pretty bad. Why don't we just tell him to do good things for the people of Earth?
yeah, we'll leave those parts in, but
Yeah.
the ruling part, maybe that's not a good thing to do.
Or like there's this whole other half where it's like, if they're not good people, do what you got to get them on the right track.
Yeah,
Like if they're just a bunch of savage apes that are beating each other over the head with sticks, kind of like, knock some sense into them, and or you know what, if they can't evolve, just like I
try
well, I don't know.
dolphins.
We want to suggest Superman cavemaning it up with Lois of the Crags. I don't know.
Oh man.
So they sully his name quite thoroughly. Everyone gets pretty disappointed in him, with a few exceptions. It's amazing. It's just like school, where like people just hear the surface of something and they decide to believe it. You
Hmm.
would almost believe that you could tell people anything. Like you could probably tell them that they'll get really, really sick if they go outside and meet other people, and they'd believe it. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't
Or that
know
like,
that.
or that like the government can make grocery stores like free or buses.
Yeah, But that's actually far-fetched. I don't think anyone would fall for that.
I mean, you're right.
They might believe the whole thing about Superman, who's been saving the world all this time, is secretly actually keeping a harem and just planning his moment to become a tyrant. But there is no way anyone would ever believe any of what we just said. That is way too far-fetched.
No, we don't want to be crazy here.
That's science fiction.
Fantasy. It's not even.
Yes, it's not even. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Doctor Who.
So Superman becomes dejected, which is what Superman does every time he finds the least resistance.
That doesn't sound very Superman-like to me, honestly.
Right?
Do you mean this Superman or
Well, it definitely is this Superman because he folds almost immediately. They have introduced a few other heroes at this point in the movie. They keep making this stupid joke about how they're calling themselves the Justice Gang, which is the group that will ultimately be the Justice League. I don't know if that's in the comics or what, but they kind of keep doing it throughout the show where the Green Lantern is calling them the Justice Gang and nobody else likes the name but him.
Uh-huh.
And it's the setup for one of the worst jokes, or at least an unnecessary joke. Like, I guess it's okay that they did it, but basically at the end of the movie, a new character shows up and he says, Justice Gang. Oh, that's a really good name. And the Green Lantern is like, you're in. So it's semi-funny, but it's like, it's just there for no reason. And the tone of the movie is just, it's not, the movie doesn't have a very good tone throughout because the whole thing is just crapping on Superman. And then it's like, there's also these little jokes in between. But there's no uplifting moment, and there's nothing really like you don't get a sense of justice when Superman's name is cleared. There's just like this brief thing where it's like,
they do clear his name.
They do clear his name, and everyone's like, oh yeah, Lex Luthor was the bad guy this whole time, which is patently obvious to anyone who thinks for 2 seconds in this universe. So the Justice League is kind of on Superman's side, like they're. Two of them aren't sure if they really should trust him or not, but they kind of just do anyway.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't matter because even the Justice League treats Superman like he doesn't matter in this movie. Like when they show up to help him out and save people and do a couple of things.
Yeah.
At that point, they're kind of his friend, but they're also kind of like, oh yeah, you're here too. Like there's nothing special to them about Superman in this movie.
Okay.
And it's even to the point where Superman decides that the way he's going to try and handle this whole thing is that he's going to turn himself in. And, at first you think, okay, he's going to turn himself in and he's going to attempt to explain himself to the authorities and just be like, okay, look, I know that, explain that he was following the first half of the message and he never knew the second half and that he's more than willing to be, a hero for this world. And he's not interested in that other stuff. But instead, you find out that he's turning himself in because Bitcoin went missing, and he's pretty sure Lex Luthor kidnapped Bitcoin, and the easiest way to find him is to let himself be captured.
What? How does that follow?
I don't know. I don't know because Superman has several things going for him that should help him locate a dog. One of them is being Superman.
Well, okay, so when we talked about Batman vs. Superman a long, long time ago, I mentioned that, hey, they're trying to kind of limit Superman's superpowers a little bit and not make him quite so ridiculously overpowered in like some of the comics and some of the other media. And you're like, oh, not in this movie. So is he weaker in this movie than he is in other media? Does he not have his super hearing? Does he not have X-ray vision? Is he missing any of these powers that would make it trivial for him to find a dog?
He has his super hearing, he has his freezing breath, his laser eyes, he has his super speed. There's nothing really missing that would make it so that he has to turn himself in to find his dog. You would think he's willing to hang someone on a cactus. You would think that he would have been willing to grab Lex Luthor and be like, we're going to have a talk. I want my dog back.
It's cactus time.
Look, your concern, Lex, is that I may go John Wick on you. Well, let me put it like this. You have my dog.
Yeah.
so this should be a pretty easy one for him to take care of. It's like, we can go back to square one. We can go right back to the middle of whatever it is that we were doing in this movie. But you give me my dog. I'm not going to hold you to anything else. We can still have our little war here that's going to play out one way or another.
Yeah.
Give me the dog. This is a very easy thing that he could accomplish. But no, he turns himself in only to find out that he's actually turning himself in to Lex Luthor. The other super
what?
guy that
But
nobody...
hold on. Okay, so hold on. I was going to ask, to whom is he turning himself in?
He's
and then you answered
supposedly
the
turning
question.
himself into the United States government, but he finds out that they are actually handing him off to Lex Luthor to be put in this interdimensional prison. And when they go there, this is again one of them things where it's like, how much power does Lex Luthor have, and why is Superman a concern for him? Because they go there, and there are literal alien beings in this pocket dimension that are just like driving taxis around for Lex Luthor and helping him transport prisoners. There's these big glass cases that they're keeping all sorts of different creatures in. And it's like, they're obviously, some of them are obviously not of this world. And so Lex Luthor has his thumb on like a much more intergalactic level than he should have for the character he's portraying in this movie.
Yeah.
But he manages to put Superman in one of these glass prisons that he could easily shatter. Except he's had one ready this whole time that has a character that can change his own molecular structure. And since they're holding this character's child in a cell directly across from them, they tell him to turn his hand to kryptonite and keep Superman there. Now, what is the biggest flaw with this plan?
Well, that's relying on somebody that doesn't like you?
Yeah. But that's the biggest flaw. But let's look at how many flaws there are. Number one, Superman can break out of this cage easily.
Yes.
Number two, he only can
he can? I thought wasn't the cage made to hold Superman? No?
No, the cage was made to hold just about anyone, but Superman can bust through this cage, no problem.
Oh. So like even if Dude Fella still wanted to make his hand into kryptonite and hold Superman, Superman could just be like, "No, I'm out?"
No, that's why he's making the kryptonite, so that Superman can't go anywhere.
No, but if Superman can just easily break the thing, he can observe the guy getting close to him and go in the other direction and break the wall.
Oh no! This guy is in the cage with Superman, and they immediately.
How big a cage are we talking?
Just like maybe like an apartment kitchen size cage.
Oh, okay. So like, Kryptonite Handman is actually very close already.
Yeah, and I have no idea where anyone poops in that prison.
Well, that's what the boom tubes are for.
Good callback. All right, so you've got Superman being held prisoner by kryptonite, and the guy that is keeping him there.
How does the guy know what the form of kryptonite is?
I don't know, because the weird thing about this movie is that Lex Luthor says that, well, the government says we don't know where any more kryptonite is, and Lex Luthor says, I'll handle that. And it turns out he's got a kryptonite guy, a guy that can turn into kryptonite. The question is, like you said, how does he know what it is, and how is he able to recreate it? And it's just like, did it? They don't tell you that whether or not at some point Lex Luthor brought him some kryptonite and was just like, yeah, memorize this and do this to Superman.
Can you make this?
Because if he did, you would think that Superman would, they would be using that kryptonite against Superman already.
What are they going to do? Are they going to have him like wait for his fingernails to grow and then have him turn into kryptonite, and then they clip his fingernails and while they're kryptonite, and then he turns back into regular person, and then he grows his fingernails some more, and then like.
Well, that part that part of the movie isn't too bad, because essentially Lex Luthor is planning on killing Superman very soon. He just needs to keep him there long enough to do that. So that part kind of makes sense. They just want him to hold Superman there long enough so that the government has demanded that they be able to send someone to interview Superman, and then Lex Luthor is going to arrange for an accident to happen.
Okay.
The problem is, directly across from Superman and this guy is this guy's son, and there's a man in the cell with this guy's son. It's like a baby version of him, which the guy that's in the cell is just a dude. I think the baby could take him, to be honest, because the baby has the same powers.
Oh.
But, or at least I'm assuming that the baby can do something. But this guy's holding the baby hostage, and they're just, like, right across from each other. So literally all this guy has to do is be convinced by Superman to turn off the kryptonite for a moment, and then Superman can smash the glass, jump over to the other side before the other guy can do anything about it, because he's human, and and save the guy's kid, and then it's like all bets are off. Superman owns this entire zone now.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much what happens. There's a little bit of a hang up because the guy held out so long before helping Superman that Superman is kind of kryptonite poisoned for a moment. So then he has to tell the guy to recreate sunlight in their cell so that Superman can get his powers back. And, just one more thing to add to the mix before Superman can be like,
the guy can turn into sunlight?
Well, he can recreate sunlight somewhat. He says, I can't do it fully because it'll kill everyone in here. But he's able to do it a little bit, which is enough for Superman. I don't know what a little bit of sunlight means.
I don't know why it would kill everyone.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know if it was everyone or there was some problem. Maybe he just couldn't do it, but there was a reason he couldn't do it.
Okay.
But he gets Superman back on his feet. Superman goes, rescues the baby, and now he has this ultra-powerful ally that can change his own molecular structure to help him as well. And they proceed to escape from this zone without helping anybody else whatsoever. They find their way out with the help of Lois Lane.
I mean, Superman doesn't save people. That's crazy talk.
No, he does not save people. Not in this movie. At the same time, Mr. Terrific and Lois Lane were showing up to rescue Superman. They got as far as the inside of the boom tube and then stopped there because Mr. Terrific, who can fly, couldn't think of a way to cross a quantum river, whatever that means. So he's just like, yeah, look down there. It wasn't a quantum river. It was some scientific term that he threw out there that made no sense. But essentially it was Minecraft River because everything in it was cubes. So he says, yeah, we can't do anything about that, so this is as far as we can go. So I'll send a drone out to see if we can find him. Which, all that ends up coming from this, their big rescue mission is that Mr. Terrific throws a ball and it leads Superman and the other guy back. Oh, and they rescue Krypton while they're there. They find Krypton is being imprisoned by having a video monitor set up in front of a treadmill that Krypton is running on, and the video monitor is showing a bunch of super squirrels flying through the air. So
you mean the dog?
Yeah. Or Bitcoin.
Okay, we've been calling him Bitcoin the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Crypto or Krypton or... Yeah, but Bitcoin was chasing a bunch of video squirrels endlessly, and Superman rescues Bitcoin from what is probably doggy heaven, and they take off. And then one of the jokes in the movie becomes Bitcoin keeps eating the drone balls that Mr. Terrific has, and it nearly costs a lot of people their lives at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, so... But it's funny, because the dog is funny... or something.
It sounds incredibly out of touch with the actual tone of the movie.
No, that is actually the tone of the movie. Any of the times they try to be serious is when it feels like everything is out of touch, because...
Oh, okay.
The whole point of the movie is just for Superman to be made to look like an idiot. So they get back to Earth, and Superman, a lot of people still respect him, and a lot of people don't trust him. But there's this whole war going on in this country that Superman has already saved once. Lex Luthor has now decided that he's going to open up the interdimensional field and start to rip the Earth in half because it'll force Superman to come and try and stop it. That's his big plan. So like I said, Lex Luthor doesn't care too much if he starts hurting people. And everyone is kind of against him. They're like, dude, this could destroy the planet. And he's like, it won't destroy the planet. We'll turn it off in time. And everyone's just like, all right, I guess we'll go along with it then. Like literally anyone in that room could have been like, yeah, we're not doing this. And it wouldn't have happened.
This is a stupid idea.
Yeah. Yeah, so he starts splitting the world in half. And Mr. Terrific is there watching it happen. And for some reason, he knows everything there is to know about interdimensional physics, which is why he was able to... figure out what Lex Luthor was doing to begin with. I don't know why there's so many super scientists in this movie, but they're probably all better equipped to deal with just about anything in this movie than Superman was. Superman ends up having to fight the other guy who's super that is stronger than him, and at the same time he has to fight this engineer. And so this is where they pull their trump card. The engineer attempts to kill Superman the same way that they managed to sedate the dog, which was to fill his lungs with nanites so that he couldn't breathe, which canonically in certain Superman shows, he does need to breathe. So like in the cartoon, Superman couldn't go into outer space without a spacesuit. He needed a flow of oxygen in the 90s cartoon. I don't know how much the comics stuck with that, but they make it a point to say, oh, but he can hold his breath for like an hour or two, can't he? And so they're like, well, no, we're going to fill his lungs so that there's no air there. There has to be air there for him to be able to do that. And I'll grant you it's a good idea. There's just one problem. You know, she can control the nanites pretty well. I don't understand at all how Superman couldn't easily deal with this. He has super breath. There is no force on the planet that he cannot blow away, and he could have easily forced those out of his lungs if he wanted to. And at the very least,
think so? Yeah.
Like it shows him trying to pull these strands of nanites, if that makes sense, out of his mouth. Very grotesque, by the way. It's borderline what it looked like when Danny DeVito was eating those fish in Batman Returns. And it's like, well, okay, even if he's pulling at these things that are just going right back in his mouth, he should be able to crush these things up at light speed just by, like, gumming his lips together, right?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, this is one of the points that didn't make sense in the movie. The guy that's stronger than Superman is legitimately stronger than Superman in the movie. However, apparently he's an idiot, and I'll tell you why in a second. You're going to love this.
Okay.
The entire time that he's fighting Superman, Lex Luthor is shouting commands, and Lex Luthor has apparently, like, WrestleMania watched the videotapes of Superman to the point that he knows all of Superman's moves.
Okay.
And so he's calling out attacks and defenses to the other Superman so that that guy knows how to fight Superman, which makes absolutely zero sense. Because all Superman has to do to stop that in its tracks is move faster than Lex can see, which he can do.
Yeah, which he should be able to do, yeah.
Yeah, at no time. It doesn't even make sense that Lex would be able to learn, quote unquote, the proper martial art to take on Superman, right?
Well, like, there wouldn't be enough time for him to yell the command, I would say, in most cases.
No, there wouldn't. It makes absolutely no sense.
Imagine that, Lex Luthor sees Superman leap up. He can't be like, Shoryuken. He won't have time. Superman will hit before he can get those words out.
Yeah, but he is somehow playing Street Fighter with Superman. It made zero sense from the start, and at the very least, you would think with all of his grand technology, he would have just put together a machine that could track Superman, that would be able to input the data into the other Superman.
Why not just have that machine on the giant robot that the dude is piloting?
Yeah, or I mean, really anything. But as we find out, the helmet of the robot dude eventually gets ripped off, and it is revealed that the reason that Lex Luthor was so confident he'd be able to get into the Fortress of Solitude is because he cloned Superman. And while he wasn't able to give this clone everything that Superman had, it was not as intelligent as Superman. It was basically like a big child. He was able to make it stronger than Superman, which is why Superman lost. So we are now at the point that Lex Luthor can recreate Superman, and he's still worried about Superman being the one thing that can destroy them all, even though he's now creating other Supermans that could destroy them all.
I guess he doesn't care as long as he's the one in control?
I mean, I guess. Superman eventually defeats the other Superman by throwing him into a black hole, which is apparently something that can kill Superman.
Where did he get a black hole?
Because of the interdimensional warp thing that was ripping the Earth apart, it was also creating mini black holes, which made zero sense also.
Yeah.
Because it's like, ooh, down the road, there's a black hole that's sucking everything in. That's... First off, I'm just assuming that it was just a giant boom tube that they were calling the black hole, because... We're not even, trying with any of the science of black holes here. It was every bit as weird as when they tried to fire a black hole at Godzilla, and Godzilla dodged. Because it's not Godzilla dodging that is the weird thing, because Godzilla is the greatest superhero of all time, and so he can pretty much dodge anything, even a black hole.
Sure.
However, firing a black hole at the Earth to try to finish off Superman was very confusing.
Yeah.
Or not Superman,
Yeah, you would
Godzilla.
Yeah.
But yes, he throws the other Superman into a black hole and defeats him after getting his butt whooped for like 10 minutes straight.
Huh.
You don't actually get to see Superman having much victory in this movie, other than at the very end where he throws the guy in the black hole. The way that he handles the nanites that are practically killing him, he takes both the other Superman and the engineer, grab onto him, and he starts flying up into the stratosphere.
Uh-huh.
Practically beyond. He might have actually flown out into space, but like just at the border, because then he turns around and decides he's just going to dive bomb back down. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what is going to happen when someone hits the Earth? What is the impact going to be like when they hit all the way up from the highest reaches of the atmosphere?
Well, it depends. If they're self-propelled, it could be quite large, but if he's not self-propelled, then it would be his terminal velocity of falling.
All right, so what is it going to do to anyone that is holding on to him?
Well, it's probably going to hurt them.
All right, so we know we have one other Superman here, which is why I brought this up before
Mm-hmm.
anything else. But
Yeah,
the one Superman would obviously be able to survive, right?
you would think so.
The engineer is just a human that has nanite powers, and
Yeah.
Superman is essentially going to attempt to kill her to get her to go away.
Uh-huh.
And as far as I know, as far as the movie showed, I think he kills her. Because
What?
after he hits the ground, it shows her lying in rubble, and you never see her again. And he pulls all the
What?
nanite stuff out of his mouth, and he's done with her.
Okay.
So I have a
That's
question
kinda
for you.
strange. Yeah.
Does Superman often kill human beings with impunity?
Not with impunity, no.
Even when they endanger his life, does he tend to kill them?
He tends to not. In most incarnations of Superman that I'm aware of, he does not kill people very much.
Yeah, so the minute he couldn't breathe
If at
anymore,
all.
his go-to was,
Yeah.
I'm a killer.
I mean, I guess. I mean,
Well, there's a few things we can grant here. Like, we did
Mhm.
sort of have the trolley and the lever scenario where it's like, all right, if I don't escape this and stop what's going on, everyone on Earth will die.
right.
So that would be a fair case for Superman, but at the same time, Superman is littered with choices like this throughout his storied history. And I mean, I can't even really think of one where his option was, I'm going to kill this human being. You know, there's been times where, because of the actions of a person, they will die at their own hand, but Superman doesn't
Mhm.
let it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm sure throughout the comics, I mean, there were definitely times where Superman probably did that here and there. I've never read any of those comics, but I'm sure someone...
I mean, there's like a comic where Superman kills the Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, there's...
Because the Joker kills Lois Lane.
Yeah. So there are instances...
But that's like one of the dark Superman timelines.
Right, and this is supposed to be the positive Superman kind of thing, except for the fact that
Yeah.
he's being walked through the mud.
Yeah, over and over again.
Yeah, he gets insulted a lot in this movie. So he does manage to defeat these two.
Mhm.
And this is fine. Like, just that part of it is okay.
Sure.
He then goes after Lex Luthor to get him to turn off the portal so that the world won't be split in half. And
Mhm.
Lex is kind of floundering when Superman shows up, and he's just like, he gives him his little speech about how, you know, Superman... He gives him a speech about how he envies Superman. And that envy is his driving motivation, because the envy is... it's buried in this sense that Superman is so much more than everyone else here, and loved for no reason other than what he is, that all the hard work that all of humanity does doesn't seem to matter in comparison. And
What?
Yeah, it's a really weird speech, and this is why I said
Superman is not loved because of what he is. He's loved because of what he does.
Yeah, it's this is what I mean when I say that Lex is like a child in this movie. He doesn't really act with any maturity. He doesn't give Superman any talk like we don't know anything about you, and because of that you're a threat to us and all that nonsense. He offhand mentions it here and there, but
Yeah.
he essentially says that I envy you and therefore I have to kill you because my envy is
Because killing what you envy is something that is common and normal.
well his envy is kind of like he says it's the envy of mankind, and it's to save mankind that he's being so envious. And
What?
it's the wording of the speech, it was almost like a rough draft.
It sounds like babble.
It kind of was. I mean, his point didn't really make sense,
Yeah.
and
None of that makes sense.
it was a bad motivation for everything that Lex Luthor had done up to that point. But ultimately what happens is the people from the Daily Planet manage to get hold of evidence that Lex Luthor was doing... Okay, so there's this dumb character in the movie that's with Lex all the time. It's like his girlfriend. One of the ones that gets thrown into the prison later on. But she essentially becomes the hero of the movie because she's been taking selfies of herself this whole time. And
What?
inexplicably, this woman is in love with Jimmy Olsen from the Daily Planet. And she can't find a way to leave Lex, and she knows that Lex does horrible things to his exes, so she won't leave him. But she's been feeding Jimmy Olsen all these images of her taking selfies, and it turns out the images had all of his plans and everything that he was doing with this other country, and showed all of his alliances with these people that had sullied Superman's name. And so it becomes evident to everyone that Superman is actually the good guy, and Lex Luthor was doing evil things this whole time. And that gets played on the news. And now everyone trusts Superman and hates Lex Luthor again. The movie actually ends with... Lex doesn't even give any speech trying to justify his position. He's just in a car being hauled off to federal prison. And he doesn't say anything. He just kind of... He kind of looks like someone on Cops. You know, just being taken away.
Shirtless and bruised? A little bit tipsy?
A little bit, because he picked a fight with Superman and he tried to run away, and so Superman kind of banged him up a bit by bumping into him.
Yeah.
It's, and this should be the last thing I have to say about the movie, except there's one thing that I absolutely despised about this movie. One thing that one thing that really, really like stuck with me, that more than anything I hated about this movie.
Yeah.
Superman does nothing inspirational in this whole movie. There is a scene where these...
You've said that. You've said that.
Yeah, these kids are raising a flag towards the end of the movie that has the Superman symbol on it. And there's tanks at their border, and they're just chomping at the bit to commit genocide. And these kids are, they're calling for Superman, and then all these people at the border start shaking their fists and calling for Superman. And they show the Green Lantern, who's kind of a dick in this movie. He's watching TV, and apparently there's newscasters that are filming this soon-to-be genocide, like right on the front line somehow. They're filming all these people calling for Superman. And the Green Lantern is sitting there in a chair with his hands folded, looking at the screen with this kind of like, maybe I should do something about this. Maybe it is my problem. He's got that look like he's having a change of heart because he's been indifferent to a lot of things in the movie.
Is there a good reason given why everyone is so indifferent to this genocide going on?
Yeah, because I mean, not everyone is indifferent to it. It's just that everyone's blaming it on Superman because they're
blaming the genocide on Superman.
Yeah, because he made the other country angry that's going to commit genocide, and he wasn't diplomatic
was stopping
with
it.
them. Yeah, he was.
What?
People are
but you can't stop. Superman doesn't typically pre-crime people. There's usually something going on that he stops.
Yeah,
is that not the case in this movie?
That is usually the case. Yes.
And in this movie?
I mean, maybe. We don't actually get to see much of it.
Oh.
I mean, he does stop things after like buildings start falling. He saves people. He saves a lot of people, or at least
Okay, that's good.
we
At
assume
least,
he
I
does
guess.
because he's racing around saving a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
But no, there's okay. So there's two scenes in particular. One of them is right after Superman's name is ruined and right before he turns himself in.
Yeah.
They have three members of the Justice Gang that are in this movie.
Mhm.
They've got the Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkgirl. Now, I don't care much about Green
Okay.
Lantern or Mr. Terrific, but Hawkgirl is one of my favorite characters, and they never do her justice in these movies.
Mm-hmm.
She was in the Justice League cartoon. She might have been my favorite character because she had a character trait that is usually given to like some overly muscled axe wielding barbarian character. She
Uh-huh.
had a very like almost Conan the Barbarian mentality to things where
Okay.
anytime a problem showed up, she would take her mace and she would walk up to the problem and she would hit it. And this was
Mm-hmm.
the solution to the problem. And it didn't matter
Uh-huh.
what it was. I remember laughing one time. I was watching an episode of the Justice League, and
Mm-hmm.
robots started firing lasers at her, and she started hitting the lasers with her mace, which it's just like every single problem. She's just going to hit it. I love this character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she would always talk like, well, why aren't we going in and hitting things? That seems to be the solution. She's essentially Goku. She's the Goku
Okay.
of the story. And in this movie, she was kind of more like a bored teenager who could fly and would show up and she didn't have any enthusiasm in this movie for taking
Mhm.
out the bad guys like the cartoon one. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how close her character is to the comic book one in that cartoon. I'm
That's
pretty sure
fair.
the cartoon is the peak version of Hawkgirl,
Uh-huh.
but in
It's
the
the only
movie,
version
it's just there's
I know of, so.
yeah. There's not much going on upstairs in this character's head. She doesn't say much. She doesn't do much. She doesn't seem to really like the Green Lantern or the other characters in the Justice Gang that much. And when they say that, oh, hey, we should probably help Superman, Lois Lane shows up and she's like, guys, he's your friend, right? We should probably go help him. He's been taken to another dimension, for crying out loud. And
Yeah.
she just kind of ignores Lois and sits there reading what I'm going to say is Teen Vogue or something.
Mhm.
The Green Lantern is like, I don't owe him anything. I'm not going to help. It's you know we have to think of our relation with the government, and Mr. Terrific is kind of like not on the fence, but more like neutral to the whole thing. And as Lois is
Yeah.
leaving, he's the one that decides to come out and help. And he's like, yeah, I'm not doing it because I really care about helping Superman. I just want to. I'm just doing it because I know it'll make Green Lantern angry. So literally no motivation for any of them to actually save Superman, even though they're
Yeah.
pretty sure he's not really there to enslave them.
Yeah.
So they're
Huh.
not good characters from the beginning, but you get this
Yeah.
scene. Well, before that, Superman is in his Clark Kent apartment, dressed as Superman,
Mhm.
which,
Mhm.
surveillance state.
Not a great idea.
Yeah, not a great
Yeah.
idea. But Lois Lane is there, and they're talking, and there's a battle going on outside. An interdimensional creature has appeared, just for the
Yeah.
purposes of this scene, by the way.
What?
You only, like, he comes into his window, Lois is there, and she's like, what is going on out there? And he's like, oh, it's an interdimensional creature. She's like, well, shouldn't you be doing something about that? It's like, no, the Justice Gang is out there. They got this one. I need to sit down and think.
Mhm.
Has there...
That sounds very Superman.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's like a million times that there's been something going on that Superman could help with, and he's just like...
Some crucial proximate danger.
Yeah.
And Superman's like, no. Let me think.
It's like no attention. It's the 100% confidence that this creature will not cause any damage to any of the Justice Gang or accidentally fire off a beam that will kill people on the streets. It's just no thought
Yeah.
of that at all. He's just like, I got to sit down and think for a minute. Those guys got it. It wouldn't matter if Superman was 100%
Are those guys
certain.
at least there?
Yeah, they're there. You can see little dots outside fighting this gigantic eyeball thing.
Okay.
And that's the Justice Gang. And you're seeing a little blast of green here and there, and hearing the sound of crunching something or other as the mace is hitting things, but you can't actually see the characters.
Yeah. Does the Green Lantern do anything interesting with his powers in this movie at all?
The best he does is when he shows up to fight some tanks. He has hands pop up out of the ground to knock the tanks into the sky, and the hands are all flipping the bird. So that's about it. That is the extent.
So no.
Of, yeah,
the answer was no.
Yeah, the answer was definitely no. Like that's the best they could do. Nothing else interesting.
That's the funniest that they could do, but not the best.
Yeah, and it's barely funny because it's just like.
Yeah, no, it's not very funny, but like, yeah.
But essentially, Superman is sitting in his apartment having it was like a 7-minute long conversation too. And the whole time the Justice Gang is outside his window fighting this creature. And
are they asking for his help?
No, they're not asking for his help. In fact, they never ask for his help in this movie. They kind of show up to help him once, but they never ask him for help. Superman is having his conversation, and this fight is going on, and it's just like, even if Superman was watching, let's say, Martian Manhunter taking on a normal human being who is being a huge menace to part of the city, Superman would still show up for that and lend his support, because that's who Superman is. When there's
or at least be like, hey, you need a hand or something.
Yeah. When there's bad things happening, Superman shows up and he deals with it, whether the Justice Gang wants him there or not. Even if they all told him to go away, he'd be like, yeah, no, this is a bad thing and we're stopping it. That's just who Superman is. And this is happening right outside his window. And instead he's talking to Lois Lane about his feelings and how he's upset that his dog was taken and how he's going to turn himself in. And then he asks her what she meant by it probably couldn't work between them, essentially. There's another scene right before he turns himself in where he goes to, or no, maybe it's right after he escapes. Yeah, he escapes the, we'll call it the Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
And he goes and sees his parents. And he has this scene where he's sitting on a bench and his Earth dad sits next to him.
And tells him to kill some kids?
Tells him to kill some kids, yes. No, he's sitting there like he's about to offer Clark some fatherly advice. He starts to say something, and it's like, oh, he's going to say something inspiring to get Superman to get out of this funk he's in and be the Superman that we all know he can be. And instead, he breaks down like half a sentence in and starts crying and just says, "I'm so proud of you," and that's it.
What?
That's it. That's all we get out of him. So there's no good lines in this movie. There's no memorable lines.
You said half a sentence?
Yeah, like I don't even know what he was planning on launching into, but it's almost like he was starting to go into something and the writer was on the side doing like the throat thing with his thumb. And so he just changed tacks completely and just says, "I'm so proud of you," and finishes the scene that way. And this is apparently enough to inspire Superman to stand up and go start taking care of business.
It's just like I'm imagining in my head, half a sentence. You know that time that you sob, "I'm so proud of you."
Yeah, it's pretty much what it was like.
That's incoherent. Yeah.
And so Superman is going off now fully inspired by this babble to go save the day. So these two things happen. Neither of these are the most atrocious things that happen in the movie, though, and they're pretty bad. Like Superman sitting down in like a lazy boy while a battle is taking place outside his window with an interdimensional being. That's pretty bad, right?
Yeah, sounds pretty bad.
Here's the worst thing. Now, we've already seen how his father failed to be inspiring in the movie.
Yeah.
It had to have been done on purpose. Because that scene where Green Lantern is watching the television and seeing the war unfolding, and he's sitting there looking contemplative, like, maybe I do need to make this my problem. What you would expect to happen, since Superman is busy fighting the other two super people, that he kills one of them, or both of them.
Yeah, apparently.
You would think, okay, the Green Lantern is going to show up with the other two members of the Justice Gang on this battlefield, and they're going to save these people from this because they have been inspired by Superman somehow. Like we didn't actually see them in any way inspired by Superman. Like maybe they
Yeah.
thought he looked very inspiring on his sofa while they were fighting the eye thing. But you can make an assumption that that's kind of like the idea is that,
The eye thing with the talk sounds like a Zucker Brothers joke.
yeah, you maybe. I mean, you would think something like that. It was kind of like that, but also
Was it funny?
it wasn't
or was
funny.
it?
It was maybe it was
Oh.
meant to be a little bit like the Zucker brothers would have done it a little more interestingly. They would have had much more, like, you would have been able to see the other characters. Like maybe one of them would have been holding the creature and punching it in the face, and then the creature would have been holding them coming the other way in the window in the background
And punching them in the
face.
Yeah, sure.
But essentially, yes, it was Superman sitting there while in the background a fight was taking place, a la Zucker Brothers.
I mean, it's like Superman says, like, I just don't understand how I could be useful. And, like, you get, the guy with something around his neck and he's just looking desperately at Superman
like
as
kicking
he
the
gets
window
punched in the face. Yeah.
No, but they were way too far in the background for it to be that entertaining. So you couldn't even make out
Oh.
the features of the characters as they were fighting.
So, what?
But you would think, right, that, okay, so we'll just assume somewhere they were inspired by Superman. It's like, Superman would make this his problem. Why don't we make this our problem? And they go and save everyone. Now,
Sure.
Green Lantern does show up on the battlefield just in time to save a kid. And he floats down from the air and says, sorry, kid, Superman couldn't make it this time, but you got an upgrade. He makes a comment like, I'm better than Superman, which is in character for this guy in the movie.
Sure.
Unfortunately, he's not there because he was inspired by Superman. Because right before Superman kills the other Superman,
Yeah.
Lex Luthor is listening through microphones on this guy's suit, apparently, which should have been the first thing that Superman took out, right?
You'd think.
So Superman tells Lex, he's like, yeah, I know you're thinking you're going to keep me here while you have your little war. Unfortunately for you, I called in some friends. Which means that moment of inspiration for the other characters never happened. It was just a scene we never saw where Superman rang them up on the old Justice Gang phone and was like, hey guys, I'm going to be busy with this thing. If you could handle that war over there. And so the entire scene of Green Lantern watching the television was irrelevant to all of that, because it wasn't that changed his mind to go and do something about that. It was just Superman asking him to earlier on, which we didn't see. And so he goes and does it.
What?
Well,
that's bizarre.
Yeah, so there's literally nothing in this movie that happens that is inspiring either to anyone outside the movie or inside the movie. And that to me was utterly grotesque.
Yeah,
but it's
it sounds
okay.
pretty grotesque.
It's okay, because at the end of the movie, Supergirl shows up drunk.
What?
And she...
Like, how drunk?
Pretty drunk. After she leaves, the robot and Superman are having a chat, and he's like, yeah, she likes to go to planets with red suns and go to parties because you can't get drunk when you're on a planet with a yellow sun.
Uh-huh.
The whole Superman can't get drunk thing.
Sure.
And but like, that's it. That's all she shows up for. She comes back, asks Superman to give her Bitcoin back because apparently it's her dog, and that's why the dog is so unruly. She takes the dog and leaves, and as she's leaving, I think she flips Superman the bird and calls him a loser, and that's all you see of her in the movie. And then Superman is just like, kids, right?
Can't live with them, can't kill them.
Yeah. Well, she is Supergirl. She'd be pretty hard to kill.
That's my point, yeah.
But yeah, it was just like one last thing at the end of the movie. Like the only thing that happens, that's how the movie closes out. She comes back, calls him a loser, and leaves. And then the movie pretty much ends.
I mean, you could do that, but you'd have to do it in a consistent comedy. Like you'd have to have some kind of like satisfying ending, and then like somebody comes up and they just like kick the main character in the nuts and then walk off. Yeah, like you could do that.
And to be fair, like the whole movie was calling Superman a loser, so it did fit the theme of the movie. This is what I meant at the beginning.
But how does she know this? She wasn't even in the area.
Well, no, she obviously just thinks he's a loser anyway, and she goes out and parties and calls him a loser, and it's really dumb. It is really dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did a little bit more than that. Like she comes back, she calls the dog over, and she's playing with the dog, and the dog is This was a little bit funny for half a second, but because the rest of the movie
Yeah.
was so bad, I couldn't appreciate it at the time. The dog actually grabs her in its mouth and starts banging her into the ground so hard that she leaves cracks in the ground while she's drunkenly laughing. So that was a little entertaining.
Okay, that sounds like something.
But then she says, I just came back for my dog, and flips Superman the bird and calls him a loser and leaves. That's her only appearance in the movie. Now, bear in mind...
Is she usually, is her character usually that antagonistic towards Superman?
Not really. Like,
Okay.
I don't know what her story was in the comics again, because I never read them. So I'll go with the Justice League
Sure.
cartoons, which portrayed her as someone who fled Krypton, and she headed towards Earth, but she was in stasis while Superman was growing up. So technically, Superman is her baby cousin, but she is younger than he is because she was in a stasis the whole time. And in
appearance, she's younger.
Yeah. So she gets to Earth, and on the one hand, she is not used to Earth or its customs, and she was raised on Krypton and actually grew up there, whereas Superman grew up on Earth. So she needs to be taught by Superman how to live more like an Earthling. So she has this sort of naive misunderstanding of a lot of things in the Justice League. At the same time, she is also someone who was educated on Krypton, and that makes her one of the smartest people on planet Earth. And, she's bringing technology from Krypton. She's able to tell Superman things that he would have never known about his home planet. And she's essentially smart enough that I remember in one of the animated movies, it was decided that she had so much trouble functioning on Earth because she was not used to the culture. They sent her to the future where they thought she would fit in more. And she's actually in a classroom with one of the future versions of Brainiac, which is, it's like the 6th incarnation of him, and he's a good guy.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And they're both in school together, and she is on par intellectually with Brainiac. So she's incredibly intelligent.
Yeah.
But in this movie, she just comes back all drunk, gets her dog, and flips Superman the bird and calls him a loser.
Huh. Is it a hook for the next movie?
I don't know. I mean, it seems like they're going to do more with some of this stuff, and but like, I don't know if they're going to make another movie. I don't know how well it did, but if they do make another movie, I'm not expecting it to be good, nor am I looking forward to having to watch it so that we can do this again.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of what you do. You watch superhero movies and then bitch at them to me.
Yeah, I do. I do that a lot. You know why I do that, right?
Because I don't watch the superhero movies and you have to share the pain.
Yeah. But more importantly, it's like, I'm not big on the superhero movies like a lot of people are, and definitely not for the same reasons. I have always watched superhero movies and been into superhero things because there's not a lot of good things that happen in reality when it comes to people being villains. Like, justice is rarely served in reality.
Sure.
So it's fun to watch a movie where there's a bad guy and you generally know by the end of the movie he's going to get his just desserts. It's a good feeling. It's one of the things that can be, inspiring.
Sure.
Unfortunately, the trend in superhero movies has been to maybe just barely serve justice to the villains that deserve it. And you sometimes, more often than not lately, you get bad guys who just never get justice served to them. Or the justice is like, it's not enough. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, okay, this guy's going to be back for the other movie. They should have beat the crap out of this guy for what he did. You know? And
sure.
I don't know. I don't know. There's I prefer heroes that are actually good people to a lot of other heroes. And I know I say this having written The Good Guy, where the hero in it is just like, all right, you're bad guys and I don't like what you're doing. I am going to either kill you or beat the crap out of you so bad that you won't ever think of doing anything bad again.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of hero, obviously.
Sure.
But there's just something about the good heroes that's just like, this guy served justice and he didn't have to do evil things to do it. That's the pinnacle of heroism. That's the best feeling you can get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, my favorite hero is the Shadow, and the Shadow is not this kind of hero, but the Shadow's a special case. It's just like, this is a mortal man taking on other mortal men who have vast resources and are doing very heinous things. And
sure.
It's a little more down to earth in that sense, wherein, like, how do you really get any kind of justice in reality without putting down the bad guy most of the time?
Yeah.
And the answer is it's incredibly difficult. You don't get
Sure.
a situation very often where it's like justice was done and the people who did it with the highest moral integrity.
Yeah.
I mean, who do we call for help in reality? We call trigger-happy cops that sometimes often hit innocent bystanders with bullets when there's a shootout.
Sure.
Or they don't bother to run in and save a bunch of kids when they're being shot in a school.
There are myriad examples.
Yeah, there's plenty of those examples. So the acts of true heroism are far in between in reality, so it's good to get a healthy dose of it once in a while from media.
Mm-hmm. But this didn't do that.
This did not do that. I mean, Lex Luthor went to jail, I guess. They showed him being taken away in a car.
I guess.
Maybe they just took him around the block and said, bad boy, don't do it again. We're going to watch it.
Oh, you little scam.
They did the two-finger eye thing back and forth with him and then let him go.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the bad guys was killed, but I feel like she was a victim of circumstance because it's like all these people were brought in by Lex Luthor and essentially brainwashed to believe that their biggest goal should be killing Superman. You get a sense that she was put through.
They have no agency.
Yeah, they really don't. This woman essentially says in the movie that she's in the Lex Luthor cult, and she just as much as him wants Superman out of the picture because she doesn't trust him. So she has very little personality of her own, and it's just tacked onto the motivations of Lex Luthor. And then the other guy never even talks because he's apparently got like Kryptonian Down syndrome or something. I don't know.
Kryptonians.
The Kryptowns.
Oh boy.
So there you have it.
Well, that
is Superman.
That sounds like a movie I'm glad I didn't go bother to see.
Yeah, what was this movie even called? I don't even remember. Was it just called Superman? I don't know.
I think it was just called Superman.
Would have been nice to actually have Superman
the
in
next
the movie.
disappointment.
Would have been nice if Superman, like maybe if the real Superman had showed up halfway through the movie, I could have gotten more into that, but
yeah. This man is an imposter, and then he rips his face off.
See, he was wearing a mask. He was a skeleton the whole time, and the guy's just screaming.
Okay. Well.
Your wails of evil won't fool me, Skeletor, and he picks him up and tosses him into the sky.
I'm not surprised that the newest Superman movie was a disappointment, but it's good to know that we have someone like you who's willing to subject yourself to this garbage over and over again.
Oh yeah, the masochism.
And, let us know how it went. Yeah,
but there is another reason that I watch. So anyone that is listening, this is essentially one of the things we did before Wordy Pair. Was I would watch bad movies and I would tell Rudy about them.
Yes,
and those can be found elsewhere on the internet. I'll leave the logistics of that to you.
Yeah,
but the thing is, I watch these movies knowing they're going to be bad. And when I do, I pay attention to the writing in the movie because I never want to write this badly in my life. Every time I see something,
it's a good counterexample.
I think about it and I'm like, I don't want to do something like that because it's so poorly done and it gives nothing to anyone who would read it. So if you do find yourself...
It doesn't make sense and it sets a bad example and Yeah,
if you find yourself in a situation where you're watching these bad movies, really pay attention to what makes it bad. And honestly, there's no better teacher than mistakes, and it's better to look at other people's mistakes than your own if you can help it, because
it saves time.
Yeah, don't make your own if you can help it. People have been down this. There are people who have set themselves on fire by sticking forks in electrical sockets. It's better to watch them do it and say, I'm not going to do that, than to try it yourself and learn why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, unless you happen to like the fork in the electric socket sensation.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah, if you really like movies like this where the hero is dragged through the mud and doesn't inspire anyone and leaves any viewer with the sense that he didn't really accomplish much, and again, no character development in this movie. Now, like I said, you don't have to develop a character at every stage in every movie. I mean, Superman is a character that is largely already developed in the minds of anyone who has witnessed Superman media before. You don't even have to do much with the main character, but something in the story has to be like, this is why I'm here to watch it, this is what happened, and this is the satisfying ending that I got from that movie. And by satisfying, it doesn't necessarily mean good. I mean, Lovecraft stories have very satisfying endings. They have a tendency to leave you wanting more. That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
And
did you want to watch more when you saw Supergirl flip off Superman and call him a loser?
I was done when Superman said that he called in some friends.
I see.
I was done with the movie at that point. So everything after that was just suffering.
Mm-hmm.
But that was seriously the worst part of the movie. It's like, oh, there's nothing in this movie that inspires anyone, even inside the movie.
Yeah, even Superman didn't inspire anyone. He's just like, hey, can you just take care of this for me?
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, well, I guess we'll call this an episode.
Yeah, my throat definitely needs to. I'm losing my ability to talk. When I get angry, I lose my ability to stabilize my talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I want to kill them all, destroy them.
They all must perish. All right, well, this has been The Wordy Pair, talking about Superman. What year is it? 2025? Yeah. Superman 2025.
I think so. It's hard to remember after a movie like that.
Yeah, right? But that's what we got for you guys this week. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time. As always, I'm Rudy.
And I am sympathetic to Lex Luthor's plot to destroy the world.
At this point, I think we all are. See y'all later.
Thanks for listening to the Wordy Pair Podcast. Our passion is all things writing, world building, and getting into the weird and wonderful world of fiction. We hope you enjoyed our unique takes. If you did, make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to get your weekly dose of writing weirdness. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hit us up on Twitter. For Rudy, it's @Rudolph_Cone. And for Justin, @Ninja Mouse Chew. See you next time on the Wordy Pair Podcast.